I'm going to trim that off of the archive version. I opened up the problem is I opened it up in my browser and it was in the computer, so then as soon as it started playing, I'm not hearing that because it's piped into the mixer. Thank you for giving me the heads up on that. I should have been paying more attention to that. So that problem is solved. And I'll trim the front part of this off so the people watching the archive won't have to put up with that. And by the way, just so you guys know, I never monetize my videos for at least 24 hours so that way subscribers can watch the video without having to worry about ads if they watch it within the first 24 hours. It's just something I do for my subscribers because it irritates the heck out of me when I go to a video and watch it and I'm interrupted by ads and all that nonsense. So just watch it within the first 24 hours and you won't have any ads. How's that? So for subscribers that have clicked that little bell, you'll be able to do that. Okay, so I'm going to open up a couple of links here in my browser so that I can show you a couple of things. See how this works. Because we're going to talk adventure. And I'll tell you why this topic is coming up is I have a subscriber, and I mentioned this in the comments, I have a subscriber that is thinking about buying a Tudor Pelagos. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He was thinking about either that or the titanium diver stunner that I'm wearing right here. And by the way, the on the other camera is my gold stunner, my 18 karat gold dress watch stunner. There's the side view of that beautiful crown and that beautiful case shape. So anyway, he contacted me yesterday about this thing. His wife gave him some money to buy a watch. And he really wanted to get the titanium Grand Seiko, this one, SBGA 231, I think. But it's stretching. It's more money than the Pelagos. And they're both titanium watches. So he asked me for my advice. And probably would come as no surprise to you folks that I said to buy the Grand Seiko. But we're going to talk about it. We're certainly going to talk about it. Let me see if I can pull up a... I'll go to Chrono 24 and see what prices they have on the Pelagos right now, because I know what the prices are on the used on the Grand Seiko. They're pretty consistently around $5,000. Okay, so the Pelagos is around $3,500. It looks like these are pretty much new watches or close to it for that price, because I saw some new in that price range. So, you know, we're going to say, wow, there's one for $2,650. What the heck what's the deal there? Let's take a look here on this one. Okay. Now maybe you guys can let me know in the chat. Are all the Pelagos the same, or are they all the same watch? That one looks almost like the lugs have a nicer shape than the other ones I saw. See it. Oh, they don't have a straight-on side view. Let's see here. It says perfect condition, titanium. So that's the watch, 2017. So there you go. So he can buy that used for $2,650. All right. So, and that makes sense to me because you can buy them pretty much new for $3,500, you know, aftermarket, not from the dealer. I think they're, what, $4,500 new? Okay, let's see. Let's get caught up here on this. Listening to the live stream while doing my taxes. Uh-oh. Oh, I hate tax time. Don't get me started on that. let's see here. Do you like the nickname Chip? I mean, I can take or leave it. Some of the trolls use it, and so when they use it, it's not so cool. But anyway, we've got the Wrench Gang in here. They'll take care of the trolls. Hey, Craig, listening to the live stream while doing my... Okay, I already got that. Pelagos is a great value purchase, Thomas says. We'll talk about that. He should consider the new Omega Seamaster Professional. If I was him, you can find them for great deals. Early February, found the SBGA 231 for $52.85 new in the box. Yeah, that's about what you can kind of do on those. Hey, Craig, is your boiler okay? Bill Sanders has a problem with it, but it has been fixed yesterday. Not sure what you mean. I don't have a boiler. So there's that. Okay. I thought there was an eyelash on my screen. Oh, okay. $26.50 is fair price for the Pelagos used. Yep, sounds like it. You could buy 3/4 of a BTC. There you go. Well, we should talk about that too. Pelagos is titanium with either blue face or blue bezel or black on black. 4400 new, exactly. Chip is a term of affection. Okay, there we go. Why so much hate for Tudor? Okay, so here's the deal, folks. I watched Tim's video of this video. He does a pretty good review on it. And I think that this is a much better looking watch, personally. I don't like the grade 2 titanium. I don't like the dull look of it. I don't like the fact that it does scratch very easily. And for a tool watch, you really shouldn't be as concerned with scratches, but I mean, it will scratch if you just look at it wrong. Because I had a watch like that. It was a Victorinox Divemaster 500 titanium. And it was that same grade 2 or whatever titanium. So I'm not a big fan of that. And I just think there are a lot of watches that I would buy before I would buy that. Now, obviously, it's a stretch to step up and buy this one. But he asked me the question. He said, should I stretch and buy the titanium GS? And I said, yeah. I think it's a more versatile watch. I think the Tudor is more an adventure, hard use. It's got that really rugged look. That's why I'm wearing the Indiana Jones stuff today. But this watch can be pressed into that kind of service too. So I think this watch is more versatile. And I'm convinced that this watch will go decades without having to be serviced, probably 30 or 40 years, because there's no escapement in it, basically. And, of course, it's dead accurate. So a lot of advantages to this watch, in my opinion. And I think it's more comfortable on wrist due to the shape of the case and the design of the bracelet and so forth. It's just extremely comfortable on wrist. So I think there are a bunch of reasons why I would go with this watch over that watch. Now, what other options are there out there? If you want to go even cheaper, the SBDC 007, if accuracy isn't that big a deal for you, the Shogun, the SBDC 007, is the Diashield coated titanium Seiko watch that's also a very attractive watch that you can get for $800. And I think that watch is every bit as good as the Tudor. It's not as accurate as the Tudor. So you're giving up some accuracy. Let's see. Why not consider Tudor GMT Pepsi? It's their best current model. Good point. I would probably consider that first. How thick is that one? It's the other thing. The Pelagos is a little bit thicker than this watch. And this watch, I didn't really want anything any thicker than this. This is 14 mils. But because of the shape of the lugs and the cupping on the back, it doesn't really wear like a 14 mil. It wears pretty flat on the wrist, but you're seeing it. But that's all personal preference. Get the Citizen Eco Drive in pocket and invest $3,000. If you just want a good adventure watch, that may take abuse. Yeah, and a lot of also, by the way, as far as abuse goes, a lot of the 9F movement Grand Seikos you can buy reasonably on eBay. I've seen them for $1,000, all steel Grand Seikos with the 9F, and that 9F is rugged. I mean rugged. Did I say it is rugged? So there's that. With a macro lens, you can see this micro snowflake texture baked into the hands on the Pelagos. Okay. I think the Tudor Black Bay and Pelagos are both great options, but the new Seamaster Professional and Planet Ocean are a step above, and the GS Titan and Sub even at a higher level. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to stretch to step up to this watch. He's going to call Steve today and see if he can work out a really good deal. But while we're on the subject of adventure, the reason I'll put it this way, the reason I like high-end sport watches is if you're active, you're traveling, you're doing things that might put the watch at risk, they can take a beating. And so, of course, one of the coolest movies of all time where everything takes a beating is Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I put some links in the description of this video to where you could get one of these jackets. You could still buy them. This is made by Wested Leather, which was the company that basically supplied all the jackets to Harrison Ford for the movie. Peter Bottwright made them. And I contacted Peter Bottwright after the movie, around 1982, 1983-ish, and asked him if he would make me a jacket. And it turned out that I'm not that far off in size from Harrison Ford. He wears a 40 regular. I wear between a 40 regular and a 42, depending on how many push-ups I'm doing at any given time. And so he had no problem making a jacket for me custom. And this was, of course, before the internet or any of that. So I had to contact him, and he had me take certain measurements and write him a letter, and I basically sent him a check. And he made the jacket and sent it to me. He was really super nice guy. He's since deceased, unfortunately. But anyway, I put links in the description of this to a really cool website called indiegear.com, I think, that's been around forever. Of course, it wasn't around when I bought this coat because the internet wasn't around when I bought this coat, but they've been around forever. And they've got all the gear. And this hat is similar to the fedora, but this isn't the same company. This is a company out of California that I got this from, but it's similar in dimensions. This one, the band is a little higher, and the brim is not quite as wide a brim, but the crown is about the same height. And this one has a lot of beaver in it. The first couple of movies were made of rabbit, and then the later movie was beaver. But I've got the link to the company that actually supplied the hats. They're in the UK. They're kind of pricey, but they're there. So anybody that's kind of interested in some indie gear and some adventure clothing, there you go. Now this shirt is not the same, but this is an Egyptian cotton shirt that you guys have seen before that is similar to the shirt that he wore in the movie. Now, there's one other thing, the whip. Let's see, let's show some screenshots here for you guys, in case anybody cares. So David Morgan made the whip, and I've got one of the whips. And here's the 8-foot natural. I don't remember if mine's an 8 or the 6.5. I think mine is the 8, and now that I think about it. They had several different links that he used in the movie, depending on the scene. And I think mine is the 8, so that's up to like $900 now. You can still buy the whip. David Morgan's the guy that made them for the movie. And then Alden, of course, the Indy boot. This is the boot that he wore. Now, something interesting, Harrison Ford was a carpenter before he started acting, and he was actually wearing Alden boots before he was ever an actor, and he insisted on wearing the Alden in the movie. They were going to do Red Wings for the movie, but he insisted on the Alden, and so that's what he wore in the movie. He also has boots made by Russell Moccasin Company, which I'm a big fan of. Harrison Ford has some boots made by them. So, and then of course there's the Wested jacket that I'm wearing now. And what is this? Oh, that's the hat. This is the company that makes the hats, and this is the Poet is the model, and this is the rabbit fur one, 365 pounds. And then if you want to get the beaver, it's 525 pounds. So it's more expensive to get the beaver. So anyway, it's kind of cool that you can still get these items. And then here's the Indie Gear website. And that's Peter Boatwright there, like I said, who has unfortunately passed, but he was such a nice guy, such a cool guy to deal with back in the day. So, yeah, for adventure, I think that I've said some things about Tudors and all, but I think if you want a philosophy of use, as Nut and Fancy would say. I love the Nut and Fancy channel, by the way, for all the firearm reviews and all that he does. Philosophy of use, POU, is adventure, then that Pelagos, that might be a cool option. It really might be. So, again, I'm a real fan of people actually using their watches. Oh, let's turn the background lights on. What do you guys think? Should we turn the background lights on? Yeah, let's do that. This looks a little plain and dull without the backlight. The background lighting on. There we go. Turn that on. I'm really disorganized today. Apologize for that. But we got the Wrench Gang in the house. We got Clive in the house. Were telegraphs around when you bought that coat? Barely. Around 1982, I bought it, Clive. And I'll tell you, it really is my favorite coat. It is so comfortable. This is made of, let me think. Is it called calf? Is it the leather that's softer and lighter? I think it's calf skin. Anyway, he has them on Wested. I think it's Wested.com. You can buy it in different hides. And this is, I believe, the calf skin was what the original coat was made of that he wore in the Raiders, and that's what this is. And but it is, I mean, look at the grain of this leather and all. It's super well made, super comfortable, and it holds up. It's durable leather, too. It's no joke. But the quality was really good, and I think it was around $200 back in the day to have one custom made, which that was not bad. It really wasn't. And you know, he does a good job right there, makes them right there in the UK. Let's see here. Is the Indiana Craig stream with GS and Bitcoin? Okay, here we go. Bitcoin. Somebody else brought up Bitcoin the other day. Local guy has a titanium gray dial Pelagos LHD. Love that watch. It probably is comfortable. Can somebody let me know what the weight is of it? Let me know in the chat how much it weighs. Check out the Wested website. Great value, made in the UK. Yeah, I mean it really, and he does a good job. These are well-made coats, and you can specify. This one only has one inside pocket, and I keep a nice pair of leather gloves in it that are cashmere lined. You know, just in case I'm out and about and it's a little bit chilly. So almost never wear those, but it's nice to have them handy. So you can specify with 2 inside pockets. I got one for Masha, and funny thing is she wears the same size coat as me because she wore mine and really loved it. She was like, the first time she wore it, she loved it, right? So I surprised her with one. I ordered one for her, and that one I ordered with 2 inside pockets, one on both sides. And she still has it. She really likes it. Let me know in the chat if you want to see a picture of Masha. I'll show you a picture of Masha. But anyway, You can order what you want, and you can order. This is the Raiders jacket. Some of the other movies, the jackets were a little bit longer. You can get that, and you can get the sleeve the right length. My arms are not that long for somebody that wears like a 42 or 41 or 40 regular, whatever. I normally have to have my jackets, the sleeves shortened. So it was nice to be able to order this with the sleeves the length that I want. And so that, because a lot of times the sleeves are too long on a leather jacket for me. So that was nice to be able to get it, where I wanted it so I could read my watch. You got to be able to read your watch, right? Tudor has really stepped up their game nowadays. The Black Bay and Pelagos are both proper tool watches like Rolex's steel watches before. Yeah, I hear you. Tudor watches are ugly because they're not a GS. I hate to tell you, but this is a better looking watch than the Pelagos. I hate to be the one to break the news to you, but you put them side by side, and it is definitely a stunner. And the other one is more like a rugged use tool watch, is the way I would classify it. JP Morgan is now getting into cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is going to move up on the news. Yeah, but that's a scam. All those all those centralized, it's not even really a blockchain. And we'll talk about that too, for those that want to stick around and want to hear about that. We'll talk about that. Nothing about Indiana's Smith & Wesson. There's information on that website about the guns that he used. There is. Yes, there is. That's why I put all those links in there. The BB Bronze is a favorite of mine. It's just a bit too big. I got you. I think that's pretty thick, yeah. We have the Goonies on Archie's show, and now Indiana Jones on Craig's. Okay. JP Morgan have predicted a $1,250 price on Bitcoin. Hey, I would love to see it go down to $1,250. That's the price I've been waiting for. That's my back the truck up and load it up price, but I don't know if it's going to get there. It just might not. I bought some the other day when it was around 3,100 a week or two ago, whatever. I bought a couple more, but because I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get down that low. 2019 might go down as the year where the last chance for people to buy Bitcoin below $5,000. This could be it. This could be the end of that era where you could get in at any kind of a reasonable price. I will agree that Grand Seiko have much greater jewelry factor than Tudors. Tudors are fantastic tool watches, but not much jewelry feel to them. Yeah, but see, I think this meets both use cases. I think this meets for an attractive everyday watch and also a heavy use watch. I think you can do both. I mean, a Submariner date, you can do both. It's a heavy use watch. Let's face it, it can take a beating. I mean, it is what it is. And yet it's dressy enough to wear in most circumstances and have a very attractive watch on your wrist. So you can do both. Hell, you can wear day date for heavy use. They'll handle a lot of abuse. JP Morgan, a bunch of crooks and con artists. There you go. I don't think Tudor watches are good value. You can get newer Omega who stepped up their quality. Yeah, but we just saw one for $2,500. That's a pretty good deal for that Tudor. That's $2,650. I'm sorry. So that's pretty good. But yeah, you could probably get an Omega in that price range, and I would probably buy the Omega depending on the model before I would buy that. I'd even buy one of the older Bond watches. One of the more original type Bond watch Omegas I'd probably buy before I would buy the Tudor personally. Okay, so let's touch on the Bitcoin real quick. Here's the deal. Bitcoin, the whole concept of Bitcoin is to have a store value and a medium of exchange that is controlled by mathematics, and that the parameters of it are defined and clear. In other words, how many can be produced, how how you exchange it, all these things are defined, and there's no central authority that can step in and say, oh, well, we got to change this because the economy's going bad or whatever. We got to issue some more Bitcoin, or we got to take away some Bitcoin, or we got to come in and confiscate your Bitcoin. There's no central authority to come in and mess up the process. That's what's cool about Bitcoin, is that the idea of having a way that we can exchange value. I can send you money, you can send me money, something of value, anywhere in the world, anytime we want to, and nobody can mess with it. Okay? That is the idea of Bitcoin. JP Morgan having their own centralized coin does not achieve that, because they're an authority. They can do whatever they want. And the government can lean on them and force them to do something, right? It's like when they were having a hearing on Bitcoin in the Congress at one time, and the congressman asked, they were interviewing some expert about Bitcoin, right? And they said, well, who's in charge of Bitcoin? The guy says, well, what do you mean? And he says, well, who's the boss? Who's the top guy? Well, there is nobody in charge. Well, where are their offices? Where's their main office? There is no main office. Well, where's their computer system? So that if we wanted to go and examine everything, how everything works and all, well, it's all over the world. It's totally distributed, decentralized. And you can't really access all of them. And even if you did access a bunch of them, it would still be fine, because it's literally a million-headed monster at this point. Oh, well, how do we regulate it? How do we do this? How do we, well, you really can't. Sorry about all that, right? So that's the cool thing about Bitcoin, is it gets all these bureaucrats and all these bankers out of the equation, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's a pretty cool thing. None of the centralized coins do that. Ethereum won't do that. Any of the other altcoins, none of them will do that, because all of them have somebody in charge theoretically. And of course, the ones that are controlled by the banks aren't really even distributed. They're not really. See, it takes a huge amount of energy. It's very expensive to have a network like Bitcoin. All the miners, all the computers that are processing the transaction are called miners. They're using a ton of electricity, and they're all over the world. It would be extremely costly for JP Morgan to try to duplicate that, and there'd be no reason for them to do that, because they want to have control anyway. They want it to be centralized. So all they need is a database. All they need is an Excel spreadsheet, right? And keep track of who's got these coins and who's got those coins. And they don't need a distributed ledger. They don't need a blockchain. They don't need cryptocurrency. The whole idea behind Bitcoin is, as these things are processed and all the miners are rewarded with a reward of Bitcoin and or transaction fees. And so that's how the whole thing keeps going. And that's why they're willing to run these machines 24/7 and consume huge amounts of electricity, to have this network be decentralized and totally secure and totally immune from hackers. No other entity, including the United States government, could duplicate that whole thing. And they wouldn't want to, because they wouldn't have control. They want control. And so that's the whole deal. And that's why we think it's pretty cool to support the concept of Bitcoin. Now, I have to disclose, I've been in it for years. I got in early. I bought my first Bitcoin way back when it was relatively cheap. So there's all that. But even at today's price, if I didn't have any Bitcoin and I had no debt, I would certainly buy some Bitcoin. I don't believe in making investments if you have debt. You could pay off your debts first. Okay, so there's that. Let's see. I'm a total Tudor lover. Still love your show. We need to accept different tastes. Okay, there you go. The problem with the Submariner is that it is more expensive than a GS, but it doesn't have the amount of hand finishing that the GS Titan has. Yeah, I mean, there are clear advantages to the GS, but a lot of people would rather, and I understand they want that name Rolex. I wore them for 40 years, so I get it. And they're a fantastic watch. But there are others like myself that want to step up a little bit higher to a little bit higher level and get that quality of the GS. So that's all. It's just about getting a little bit better watch. Let's see. I'm waiting for the successor to Tudor watches, Stuart watches. Clive, listen to Craig. Sell your bubble Rolex watches and buy Bitcoin. I'm selling a bunch on consignment. There you go. Who's Craig? Do you mean Chip? There you go. I'd worry about payday lenders messing with your Bitcoin, though. They are vultures. Clive doesn't know who's he must be undercover IRA. His name's Craig. Chip was the dog's name. Hey, Clive, I get compliments on the air. Thanks again for making my first Rolex purchase happen. Well, there you go. You got an Air King? Is that what you got? Cool. I like those. What's your opinion on recent chat that watch manufacturers are going to start selling direct online and start taking away AD franchises? I think some already kind of do that, but I don't think the biggies are going to do that anytime soon. I don't think Rolex, for example, is going to do that anytime soon. But they probably could. I agree with you, Craig. I don't see Bitcoin going below 3,100, 3,200. Frankly, we might be starting the next leg up. I don't know. I think we could still get one more big sell-off. I've got money sitting on the exchange waiting to snag if there's another big pullback. I mean, into like the $2,000 range or something like that. I don't think I'm going to hold out for $1,250. I was planning on holding out for $1,250, but I think if it gets down to the low 2,000s, maybe 2,200 or so, I think I'll back the truck up and load up some more, even at that price. And then if it gets down to 1,250, I'll go freaking crazy and just buy a bunch. But that's just me. I'm greedy as all hell. I just like to have a bunch of them. A bunch of them. Because millionaires can't own one. That's what's cool. So there's going to be about 15 million Bitcoin when all is said and done, when they're all produced, because a bunch of them have already been lost. There's going to be 21 million created total when all is said and done, right? Every 4 years, the amount that's created every 10 minutes is cut in half. That's called the halving. The next halving is in the year 2020, next year. Then the next one will be 2024. Anyway, there's going to be 21 million of them created, but a whole bunch of them have already been lost, irretrievably lost. Because if you lose your what's called your private keys to your Bitcoin, you can't just go and call some 800 number and say, I lost my private keys, right? You're toast. You just cannot access them, and they're dead on the blockchain. Nobody can access them. And there's already millions that have been lost that way. And so the estimate is that upwards to 5 million will be lost. So there's probably going to be around 15 million of them when all is said and done. And there's 36 million millionaires in this world. 36 million millionaires. So that means each millionaire can't even own half a Bitcoin. There's not enough to go around. So that's pretty cool. If you can own like a bunch of them and the millionaire can't even own a whole one, that's pretty cool, I think. Let's see. Let's see here. Clive is a chip-eating, basement-dwelling, Tudor collecting troll and hates Bitcoin. Ban him. He's a troll. He doesn't even have a GS. I don't think he's in the basement, though. And he's part of the wrench gang, so there's that. Wrench crew, okay. Who here hates Archie Luxury? Not me. I like Archie Luxury. I think he's a cool guy. I saw a video explaining how the growing debt because of fiat Bitcoin might get to $1 million to $10 million each Bitcoin. Okay, so here's the deal. And I've seen a graphic of this. It's really cool. If you took like all the wealth that's stored in like stocks, bonds, gold, I mean, you could even say real estate. You could, a lot of things, right? People use to store wealth. It's, if you made a bucket of that, let's say you had a big, like 5-gallon bucket, right? All right, with all that wealth in it. Bitcoin would be like a little thimble. Like, you know what a thimble is? You know, you put on your finger to do sewing, a little tiny thimble, right? And so what happens if you take that wealth and you pour it and you try to pour that wealth into that little tiny thimble, right? It won't fit. It won't fit. So what happens is the price of that thimble, it has to go way up, right? It has to go way, way up. Because there's, like I said, there's only going to be 15 million Bitcoin. It's a ridiculously small number of units, right? So once it starts catching on, and the big if here in the whole equation is, will it catch on worldwide? And there are a lot of indicators that it will eventually. So if it does catch on worldwide, and if it becomes a respected store of value and people start pouring their value into it, the value has got to go very high. It just has to. It's just mathematics, folks. So there's that. Is there a way to invest in Bitcoin via my Roth IRA? I think there is, but I'm not real privy on it. But I think there is. But research it very carefully. Don't get burned. There's a lot of scammers out there. This is the wild, wild west. Glad to see you on live stream, Craig. Have a great day. Thank you, Blue. Need that BTC to tank one last time, buy it dirt cheap. I would love that to happen. I love these downturns in the market. It's the time to accumulate, folks. Let's see. Hi, you should give us a house tour. People have asked for that before. I don't know if that's a good idea. Let's see. Grand Seiko or Tudor. Who do you like any more? Well, I mean, I'm wearing this, and I've got this, so I think that kind of answers that question. What's Bitcoin role in an off-grid situation? They've already developed many ways of keeping the system stable, even if the internet, for example, were completely shut down, which would be virtually impossible to do. They've got satellites and stuff, and they can use like ham radios, and there's ways that they can keep the blockchain active and going. I mean, some of the smartest people in the world are Bitcoin developers and working on the Bitcoin open source project, if you will. I mean, literally the smartest people in the room. So I'm not going to bet against any of those guys. They're no joke. Chip, will you drink for money? No, I don't think so. Hi, Craig. I always enjoy your episodes and content. So nobody wants to see the picture of Masha, huh? I offered to show you the picture of Masha, and you guys don't want to see it. Okay. All right. I thought you guys would want to see that. Let me see here. I got a text message. See what the heck this was. Oops. Oh, shoot. Huh. I don't know what that was. Oh. Hey, what Tudor is that? Okay, so we're going to get into this. Dudley just sent another picture. Bunch of pictures of his date 8. He's totally obsessed with that date 840. I guess if you're going to be obsessed with a watch, you might as well be obsessed with a date 840. Okay, how do you buy your Bitcoins and how do you keep them, Craig? That last expletive show that happened with this Canadian firm makes me wonder if there's a safe way. Okay, so here's the deal, Gene. Never keep your Bitcoin on an exchange. The whole point of having Bitcoin is not trusting third parties. Okay? So, to answer your question, how do I keep my Bitcoin safe? Okay. I do buy them on an exchange. I use Coinbase here in the U.S., and they are insured, and I'm sure they're a lot safer than that exchange up in Canada. But still, I don't keep them on there. I buy, like the other day I bought a Bitcoin on there, and then I immediately sent it to my Trezor hardware wallet, which is a device that allows you to control your private key without easily being hacked. It's virtually impossible to hack it. Search Trezor, Trezor, I believe is the way it's spelled. I have links on my website. If you go to my website, CraigShipp.com, pull down the More menu, click on Take Control Downloads, and at the bottom of that page, I got a whole bunch of stuff on Bitcoin and a whole bunch of information. But basically, I use what's called a hardware wallet to secure my Bitcoin. And you get seed words. You get 24 secret words that are in a certain order, 1 through 24. And if you ever have to retrieve your Bitcoin, you can use those words to gain access to your Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin always stays on the blockchain, okay? It's always on the Bitcoin blockchain, and it's in ledgers all around the world, thousands and thousands of what they call nodes. It's everywhere. And the record of who has them is everywhere. But whoever has them has these secret words, has this secret way of accessing them. And you can do it through a wallet, a software wallet. You can do it through using a hardware device like a Trezor. And then you can control, if you want to send some to somebody, they can give you an address to send it to, sort of like an email address. It's a long address. They can give you that address, and you can send them some Bitcoin. Okay? But basically the key here is you control your private keys and the security of your Bitcoin. You don't trust a third party. That's what those people in Canada were doing, is they were giving their Bitcoin over basically to this third party and saying, hey, hold it for me, I trust you. And so the guy disappeared with all their money and claims he's dead, right? So, there's that. This is the Wild Wild West, folks. Don't trust a third party to hold your Bitcoin. I'll hold it for you. If you want to trust me, send it to me. I'll hold it for you. Let's see here. Masha pick. Okay, somebody wants we'll get the Masha pick here. Well, let me read the rest of these comments. If Clive isn't banned, shouldn't be besides everyone are trolls and should be banned here. I'm not sure exactly what you said there. Wristwatch check. There you go. Wristwatch check. Wristwatch check. Wristwatch check. 9F movement. 18 karat gold. Stunning signed crown. Okay. Nate, and the trolls, let's see here. My Bitcoin seed words are never going to give you up, never going to let you down, never going to run around and desert you, never going to... There you go. All right. Would love to make about 100 lovely NATO single strap out of that jacket. Well, there you go. It's nice leather. Absolutely. I heard you hate snakes. No, I like snakes. Can't see up close. Oh, they want to see this watch up close? My gosh, you guys have seen it a million times close. It's an SBGA 231 stunner. Look at the side view of that. I got a bunch of videos on my channel here. Just search Grand Seiko, for gosh sakes, people. All right, so I'm going to take a little drink of water, and we're going to show you a photo of Masha. What do you think? I'll show you a photo of us in Russia. I had this jacket on. That's what I'll do. Let's see if I can find it. It's the beauty of that is the beauty of the beauty of that is the beauty of Flickr, is it is a database. It is a database, so you can search by keyword. There's the lovely Masha, and we are in Russia. And I'm wearing this jacket, and I'm wearing a Tilly hat. Tilly travel hat is usually what I wear when I'm traveling, because it folds up nice, and it's waterproof, and it's got the straps so that it can't blow off your head if you're in a windy situation. There we are. We just finished playing tennis. And in that shot, I'm wearing my Omega Seamaster 120. That's what I'm wearing in that shot. And there's Masha again. Again, I'm wearing this jacket. Imagine that. And we were down at the Villages down in Florida for that shot. I forget who took that shot for us. Somebody there helping out. And there we are with the coach in the background. Traveling on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road. That's a heavy-duty coach, I'm telling you. There she is in the coach with Hunter, my nephew. And there we are at Silver Springs in Florida. Touring. And there we are with Miss Marilyn and Masha on my first Segway. That was the one that I got rid of in about 2006 or so when I bought the one I have now. That one I got in about 2002. That was the first model Segway. Notice Masha has a Frederick.com shirt on. So there we are. And there we are in that's in the airport in Moscow. One of the trips to Russia. I'm wearing this coat, you notice. There you go. Bill's khakis. There you go. There you go. And that's the way that works. Is Masha a Russian lover? We traveled all over the world. We traveled to Italy. We traveled all over the U.S., all over Florida. And now she lives here in Maryland. And yes, we're very close. Very close. Have been for a long, long time. Okay. How many Mashas do you have? Those are all the same Masha. Only have one Masha. Craig, do you like to go out to any of the Keys? We made a trip down into the Keys, and it was really cool because whatever the key is that's halfway down, I forget the name of it now. The one that's like at about the halfway point. There's a Baptist church that if you turn off of Route 1, you know, everything's real narrow, right? But there's a road, you turn left off of Route 1, and you go down a short distance, and there's a Baptist church, not too big, but a Baptist church on the left, and they've got a gravel parking lot to the right. And so we were there on a Wednesday. This is how we do. We were there on a Wednesday, and we knocked on the parsonage or whatever, the place where the guy lives that runs the church. He was there. He was real nice. I talked to him. I said, listen, Masha just loves to sing in church. She's a great singer. She loves to sing in church. We would love to have her sing in your church Sunday. We're traveling. We're passing through. But would it be? Do you all do that? And would it? And Masha was there with me. And she's adorable. So, and he said, "Oh yes, we'd love to have her sing." And she's a great singer. And so, so I said, "Well, listen, it's Wednesday. Do you mind if we park our coach in your gravel parking lot over there in the corner? We'll put it all the way in the back corner there." And he said, "Oh no problem at all." And so there's right on the other side of the gravel parking lot, there's a fence. There's a stockade fence, like about 10 feet tall. And right on the other side, I swear, right on the other side of the fence is a campground where you can get a space for about $300 a night to put your coach, right? And so we're parked on the other side of the fence with all this room around us, a nice shade tree, beautiful setting for zero cost. And so we stayed there Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. She sang, Sunday morning she sang in church. And then Sunday late in the day we left, and we spent all that time touring all around the Keys. So that's how we do. Let's see here. Let's see. So that's the Keys story. Ladies love the whole package, but a Tudor might ruin it. I don't think the ladies care that much, but a day date doesn't hurt with the ladies. There's that. Show us your other girls. We don't have enough time in the stream for me to show you all the girls. We'll show you another girl sometime, but we don't have time to show you all of them. My gosh, that would take weeks. I always hear ladies debating between the Black Bay and the Black Bay 50. Oh boy. What about your other girlfriends? What about them? We are not here for the girls. We're here for the GS and Bitcoin. Well, there you go. That's right. A GS stunner. Stunning. Stunning. Look at that side view. Look at that crown. I swear to you, that's the best buy I've made in watches over the years. Adjusted for inflation, right? I mean, $3,200 for a solid 18 karat gold stunner that I don't have to worry about. That's just stone cold accurate and gorgeous on wrist. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. 40 millimeter yellow gold day date is where at, by the way. For me, 36 would feel like a double versus a grand slam. It depends on, I know you love it, Dudley, but it depends on your wrist size and how it feels on your wrist. I mean, the 36 was great on my wrist for 40 years. I mean, I wore them, and they were great. They had a great presence. I'm going to have to try the 40 on my wrist just to make sure that if I get to the point where I'm going to buy another day date, which I'm sure I will someday, I've always had them, I'm going to have to try it because I'm not convinced that for me, the 40 would be the way to go. I'm not convinced yet. Let's see here. Craig, will you go mongering with Archie in Bangkok? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to Bangkok. I don't like hot, humid places much. That's why I go to Florida in the wintertime usually, and I go to Moscow in July. It's gorgeous there in July. What's a coach? A coach is a, term motor coach or whatever. It's typically used for an over-the-road commercial grade vehicle, bus. An RV is typically on a much lighter duty chassis. It's not designed to go 1,000,000 miles like a coach is. A coach is basically a commercial bus chassis that can be turned into whatever. It can be turned into a mobile office. It can be turned into an RV. It can be turned into a coach for carrying 75 people down the highway. You know, you see them all the time, these tour coaches, right? It can be a band that's performing that wants to have a coach for the band to travel in. A lot of those are Prevost motor coaches. Some people pronounce it Prevost. So the distinction between a coach and a typical RV is the coach is on a commercial bus chassis, very heavy duty, designed to literally run millions of miles and much easier to maintain and all those kinds of things, just much more rugged vehicle. So I don't recommend an RV in any way, shape, or form. Buy a coach, buy a motor coach. So that's the distinction between the two, really. Let's see here. Idea, Fedora Show, Woman of YouTube, Masha, and let's see. Craig is the man. Okay. Craig eats cookies with a GS on the wrist. There you go. Does this live stream mean that you are slowly coming around to Tudor? Very slowly. Very slowly. Craig, I know you don't like Breitling, but would you say that a gold Breitling Navitimer is a power watch? Well, some of the gold watches, like you can get a gold Omega. Some of them are pretty cool, pretty good case design. But it is really hard to beat the overall design of a Date 8. Yes, you can get a watch cheaper that's all gold. I mean, obviously, I got this one, right? It's a lot cheaper, right? Well, not a lot, but cheaper. I mean, you can buy a Date 8 on a strap for probably around $7,000, something like that. Get the President bracelet on there, that jacks the price up, right? It is very hard to beat a Date 8. I think if you want to go all gold, I really think the way to go is a Date 8. I don't think you can beat it with anything. I don't think you can beat it with any watch out there. The design of it is so iconic and so gorgeous. They just got it so right that they, in 1956, they got it so right that they didn't really have to change it. They really haven't changed it. The general design is all the same. They've just slowly updated it. Let's see here. GS SBGM 023 near me for $3,900. Hey, go get it for $35. Clivester, you're the deal maker. Deal maker, Clivester. So it's a SBGM 023. Let's look at it. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's the that's a GMT. That's pretty cool. The only thing about it, Clivester, is that's got the old dial, with the Seiko at the top. If it was instead of an 023, if it was a 223, it would have the newer dial on it. But that's a pretty cool watch. It's just that I'm not a fan of the ones with the pre-2017 dial with the Seiko at the top. Not a big fan, so I'd have to get a real good buy on it. A coach is a high-end bus/RV/camper. Yes, it can be. It can be a camper, but a coach can be, like I say, it can be designed just to carry 75 people, too. The main distinction is the chassis is basically a commercial over-the-road bus chassis. Craig is an 18238 okay for a 23-year-old. Hell yeah. I was wearing a 1803 when I was 20. I loved it. Craig, would you wear that GS in a bordello? Sure. I wouldn't take the GS off. That's a bad move, taking it off your wrist. It's going to disappear that way. At Clive Rutran, I spoke with John P. about that Oyster Perpetual. I may get one in a couple months from them. Okay, there you go, Watch Lounge. Spider Bite discuss. YouTube celebrities and the men behind, okay, GMT SBGM023 near me. Yeah, okay, we already got on that. Indiana Jones wears a Tudor. Didn't he wear a Hamilton in the movie? They didn't show that on the website, the Indie Gear website. They didn't show the watch that he wore. I thought he had a Hamilton or something. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Craig, give us a tour of your home. Do you have real carpet beetles? I hope not. What exactly is a carpet beetle anyway? Craig schemes to destroy the price of gold with Bitcoin so he can buy 18-karat gold watches for lower prices. Well, there you go. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Nice to be able to get gold cheaper, period. Let's see here. The ultimate watch for Craig, a day-date made out of Bitcoin. Clive, are you doing a show today? Clive, they want Clive. They want Clive. Is Archie doing a live stream? Allegedly. So they're getting bored with my show, Clive. You better crank yours up. AC3 confirmed will happen in 1.5 hours. Okay. There you go. Okay. So somebody was just hit over the head with a wrench, it looks like. How funny is that? Oh, by the way, Clive, I've been telling the trolls that they're welcome on your channel. I've been sending them over to your channel, so just, because they need a home. They need a home. So go over to Clive's channel or Archie Luxury's channel. They welcome trolls. It's just they're not welcome here. That's all that is. Okay, I think we nailed it. I think we solved all the world's problems. And as far as Bitcoin goes, folks, all I'm saying is I wouldn't want 10 years from now, I wouldn't want to look back and say, damn, I could have bought a Bitcoin for less than $5,000. And now it's like $100,000 or something, or $200,000 or whatever it's going to be, right? I'd hate to be to think, damn, why didn't I buy it back then, right? I look back and I think, why didn't I buy more when it was $30? The first Bitcoin I bought, it was $30. And I'm like, why in hell didn't I buy more, right? I mean, you never could have bought too many back when it was low, right? And I think people are going to say the same thing 10 years from now. They're going to say, damn, why didn't I buy it when it was like $3,500? It's like, they'll be like, darn, I missed out on that. Just like the people that missed out on buying Apple stock, Amazon stock, I mean, all those different stocks. It's a shame. And here's the thing, and this is what's really interesting to me about Bitcoin. If you think about it, when the internet first started, a lot of people saw that the internet was going to be a big deal, right? And that's why I got into the business of the internet. I saw it was going to be a big deal, so I jumped in big time, right? Bought a lot of domain names, did whatever I could to leverage the internet. So you could buy stocks, like you could buy like Amazon stocks, stuff like that. I bought several of the online trading stocks back in the day before the big boom and made pretty good money on them. So there were ways that you could get involved in the internet in the early days and leverage it and make some money, right? But you couldn't really buy stock in the internet itself. There was no such thing. There weren't, pieces of the internet that you could buy, right? Bitcoin is the same thing as the internet in that it could be the next big, huge revolution. It could be a total revolution in the way people exchange money all around the world and the way people buy things and so on and so forth. It could totally revolutionize that whole financial system, right? And so it's a protocol just like the internet. It's a base layer that could be huge just like the internet. But the difference here is you can buy a piece of Bitcoin. You can buy a Bitcoin, and you can own it. And whereas with the internet, you couldn't do that. You had to buy ancillary things that had something to do with the internet. You couldn't buy a piece of the internet itself. You couldn't do a pure internet investment. With Bitcoin, you can. And that's what's really cool about that's what makes this a leveler, levels the playing field, where everybody can buy a little piece of this thing, right? So that is pretty freaking cool. Let's see here. Clive doesn't want trolls. No, he said they're welcome. Send them over to AC3. Well, there you go. Yeah, he likes them too. He welcomes them. Clive doesn't want trolls. As long as we have a laugh along the way. There you go. Adaptive. Swear to God, I'll ask Chip to come on just to spite you. Clive is a good guy. Love his content. Yeah, you can tell Clive's a good guy. Clive's a good guy. I want him to get a better camera, and I want him to get a lavalier mic for himself to click on so he gets good audio. He does enough shows that he should have good audio. We should talk about that, Clive. So there are cheap ways for you to get audio into a Windows machine if that's what you're using, or a Mac machine. There are ways to do it with that too. Come to Oklahoma. I've been to Oklahoma. Long time ago, though, when I sold that car, and then I went down there and bought those sport coats. Down there, down the road there, down in your town. Pornhub stock for when people abandon YouTube and Pornhub picks up the traffic. I don't know if you can buy stock in them. Talk about missing out. Apple co-founder Ronald Wayne, he sold all of his shares early and still today has the check to say he made the check to say he made the right decision. I'm not sure what you mean by all that. I think if he'd have kept the shares, he'd have been better off. At least kept some of them. That's the key. You know, sell some, take some money off the table, but always keep some. I invested in Betamax. There you go. How can Bitcoin ever be used as a legit currency when it can fluctuate hundreds or more dollars a day? Well, it'll stabilize eventually. It's in the early days now. It's extremely volatile now because the volume, it isn't that high. And so, yeah, I mean, eventually, as more and more people get in and the price goes up and up and up and up, eventually it'll get to a point where it'll start leveling off and it'll get more stable as the base of owners broadens. And that's just the way markets work. In the early days, it's always more volatile. But here's the thing. I mean, I would rather have something that's volatile that is typically on the way up on the long haul than something that is guaranteed to go down, which is the U.S. dollar. It's been, over the last 100 years, its buying power has gone down consistently. So it has a track record of absolutely losing value. That's why everybody buys stocks or whatever they can buy, real estate. They never leave their money just in dollars, right? Because it's going down in value. At least Bitcoin over the long haul is going up. So I'd certainly rather park my money there than park it in dollars. But it'll stabilize as it, eventually. It might stabilize at around $1 million each Bitcoin. It's going to be a big number. But it will stabilize eventually. And as far as using it as a, quote, legit currency, I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, if you can buy something with it, if a merchant, like Steve is going to start accepting Bitcoin for watches, like somebody can buy an Omega from him for Bitcoin, right? He's in the process of setting that up. So, I mean, they can just send Bitcoin to him and he'll send them the watch. I mean, it's pretty legit. I mean, it is what it is. So I'm not sure I understand that question. I can see Archie and Craig spit roasting a lady boy. Oh well, we won't block you for that. Well, if you get a little bit nastier, we'll go ahead and hit you with the wrench. So let's see. Bitcoin could be the first worldwide denomination, a prototype for the first world denomination accepted everywhere you go, whether it be America. Well, it pretty much already is. It's pretty much accepted all over the world right now, and it's only going to get more so. And not only will it be the first, it'll be the only one. See, that's the neat thing about Bitcoin is it has such a network effect, and it's so decentralized, and it's got so much horsepower behind it. It is virtually impossible for anyone else to try to duplicate it. And a lot of folks have tried, but there's no way that they can get the miners to sign on, and there's no way they can get the developers to sign on. All the best developers in the world for blockchain technology are working on the Bitcoin platform because they recognize that it, in effect, is the protocol. It is the way it's going to be. It's just like the internet is the internet. Bitcoin is cryptocurrency. All these others are just noise, and they're just scams. So there will not be any other. If Bitcoin fails, it'll be done for. This whole concept will be history. It will not happen again. It was created at just the right time. It got just the right amount of traction under the radar before any of the authorities really knew what was happening. And it grew to such a size that it was virtually impossible to kill. And China tried to kill it. South Korea tried to kill it. There's various entities that have tried to kill it over the years, and it's actually been pronounced dead several hundred times. There's a website called bitcoinobituaries.com or whatever it is. I've got a link to it on my page that shows all the times it's been pronounced dead, but nobody's been able to kill it. And now it's gotten to the point where even if the U.S. government turned their supercomputers on it, trying to kill it, they wouldn't be able to. It's too powerful. So that scenario really cannot be duplicated again. This is a one-time deal. This either works and becomes the world exchange currency, or it doesn't. It's not like something else is going to come along and all of a sudden replace it. It's just not. It just doesn't work that way, because anything else that comes along would be centralized. So it wouldn't be any better than just using the U.S. dollar. Let's see here. It's crazy to think that you could one day use one Bitcoin to buy a grand complications pet tech minute repeater. Sure, you could. Absolutely, you could. Absolutely, you will. And she does have the awesome twins. Okay, whatever that means. Okay. When QBIT processing, it will have a serious chance at cracking. No, like for example, quantum computers and all of that, they won't be able to do it. Jimmy Song has an article about that. Check that out. They won't even be able to do it, even quantum computing, and that's theoretical at best. Right now, there's a lot of challenges to it, but even that won't be able to do it. Okay, BTC will be the only one. Hard fork says otherwise. No, it doesn't say otherwise. No, I mean, you got a Bitcoin Cash forked off of it. There's a bunch of Bitcoins that have forked off of the real Bitcoin, but they're just altcoins. They're just scams, and they're centralized, and they're just like there's thousands of altcoins out there, and there will be hundreds of thousands of them. And they're basically scams. They can't get the network effect that Bitcoin does, and they won't have the developers working on their project. They won't have the uptake. They're just, you'll waste your money. Go ahead and buy those. It's just a total waste of money. Can you recommend a Bitcoin exchange? If you're in the U.S., you can use Coinbase. That's where I bought mine, in the U.S. I've got links on my page. Check it out. If you go to my website, CraigShipp.com, click down the More menu, click on Take Control Downloads, And there's a whole section on Bitcoin in there with different links and where you can buy it and all that if you want to. Let's see. What happens when the government regulates it? They can't. They can't get to it. That's the problem. Now, what the government could do is shut down an exchange, for example. The government could go to Coinbase and say, you can no longer operate in the U.S., and they could shut them down. That shuts down Coinbase. That doesn't shut down Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a million-headed monster, and they can't kill all those heads. They're all over the world. It's totally decentralized. There's nobody in charge. There's nobody they can arrest. So it would be harder to shut it down than it was to stop people from drinking liquor during Prohibition. That didn't work either. So, yeah, good luck with that. And here's the other thing about that is, if, for example, the U.S. decided to shut down Bitcoin exchanges like Coinbase, which not only are they not shutting it down, but they're regulated by the U.S., and they're in cahoots with them. So they report when you buy Bitcoin and it goes up in value and you sell it, they report that to the government, so you pay your taxes, right, on your capital gain. So they're in cahoots with the government, right? So they're not going to shut them down. But let's say they did. Let's say they decided, hey, this Bitcoin thing is a bad thing. We're going to shut down Coinbase. Well, what happens is the Bitcoiners will go somewhere else. And that's already happening. There are already places around the world that embrace the Bitcoiners and embrace the concept and welcome them with open arms. So it will become an economic boom and plus for some place that embraces it, and a bust for places that try to squelch it. It will hurt their economy. It's just like the internet. If you shut down the internet, like China is talking about having their own internet, right? They might be big enough to pull it off. But if a typical country shut down access to the internet, it will hurt their economy. I mean, look at North Korea, right? It's a disaster. So when you stifle technology and things like the internet or Bitcoin or whatever, it's only going to come back and harm you, and other places will pick up the slack and become successful because you tried to kill it. If the government shuts down an exchange, it demonstrates why we need Bitcoin. Well, exactly. Yeah, if Chip Wong comes back, he's going to probably get hit with a wrench. Let's see, Craig. There was a recent article in Bitcoin Magazine and Wired that warns Bitcoin isn't safe from quantum processing. Yeah, no, take a look at Jimmy Song's write-up on that. They're wrong. Wired Magazine, they do a lot of like clickbait articles, and they're pretty clueless when it comes to Bitcoin. So check with Jimmy Song. Just search his write-up on it. If the government shuts down an exchange, it turns... Okay, we already read that. Good analogy. Worth. What's harder to shut down, the trolls or Bitcoin? I mean, we've done a pretty good job of shutting down most of the trolls. They're having a little bit of a time getting in here. The Wrench Gang has done a pretty good job. I think the people that say that you can't stop the trolls, I think that's a cop-out. It's not that easy for them to create a new profile. Yes, they can keep creating new profiles, but it takes time for them to do that. And if you just keep blocking their new profile, eventually they'll give up. I think you can get rid of them. And I think they should be gotten rid of because they're nasty, negative people that aren't about, building something positive. I'm about building and doing things that are positive. So there's that. This is getting to be like whack-a-mole. You got a good job. Well, we need some more wrench guys in here. Where's the rest of the Wrench Gang? Did they left you? They abandoned you. There should be a bunch more. You got a new watch on, Craig? No, I don't have a new watch on. This is a titanium diver. This is the SBGA 231 Grand Seiko titanium stunner diver, and that's the 18 karat gold dress watch. Side angle with the stunning signed crown. So they're the same watches I've had for a while now. You've got no idea what you're talking about. Hard fork doesn't equate to an altcoin. Read the protocols. If they hard fork Bcash, Btrash, off of the Bitcoin main, whatever you want to call it, Bitcoin main, let's call it. They fork that off, it becomes an altcoin. What else would you call it? It's not the real Bitcoin, BCH. It's going to have a new symbol. It's going to be a new coin. I would certainly call it an altcoin. I don't know what else you would call it. Use whatever terminology you want, but it's not the real Bitcoin. So there's that. Unless the government can control crypto, they won't allow it to become the main currency. Well, what choice will they have, Tommy Lee? If that's what I choose to use as currency, how can they force me to use something else? They're going to come to my place and put a gun to my head and say, you got to use something else? I don't think so. This will be even harder for them to control than it was for them to control liquor during Prohibition, and they couldn't control that. They're not going to be able to control it. And the bottom line is, again, they're going to have a huge competitive disadvantage if they try to do that. If the U.S. government tries to shut down Bitcoin, and a bunch of other governments around the world welcome it, it will give them a severe competitive disadvantage. So that would be a real problem. It's going to be interesting to see this all play out. It's going to be very interesting to see this. This is gameplay at the highest level. The highest level. And I want in. I want to be in the game, folks. Let's talk watches, guys. Come on. We talked watches to death here, folks. The Titan. There's the Titan. Joe, that was totally my joke. Whatever. Okay. Oh, good. He put somebody just in a timeout. Oh, Dave's back in the house. Good. We needed, Dave, we needed reinforcements. The wrench gang needed reinforcements. Oops, I think I misunderstood JCE. Okay. Order 66. Watch question that Craig shouldn't answer. Is there something undesirable about Panda Dial Speedmasters? I'm just not a fan of a chronograph watch because I don't have a need for it. If I was a racer and I needed it, that kind of timing capability on a regular basis, then I would reconsider it. But for me, I don't need that stopwatch functionality. So I don't need to clutter up the dial on my watch with a bunch of superfluous things I don't need. I can, if I need to do like a 20-minute timing, I can just use my rotating bezel on this diver watch and rotate it to the minute hand and time 20 minutes, right? Very easily. Like Tim says, he would rather use a rotating bezel on a diver's watch than a chronograph for most timing situations. So I just don't have a good use case for it. And as I think you guys know by now, I buy my watches to use. I don't buy them to collect. I'm not a watch collector. I'm a watch user. So I like to buy the best watch for my purpose, and that's what I do. I guess he wanted a wrench thrown to him, not at him. My bad. Who wants a wrench? Craig, you ignored my question if you're wearing pants. I'm wearing a swimsuit right now. Not pants by definition. I'm wearing a swimsuit, which I often wear. Let's see here. I'm going to dive in the pool here after the show. So there's that. The real question is if you are wearing pants. So I just answered that. Thinking my next add-on after the Rolex Oyster Perpetual will be Grand Seiko GMT SBGE 245. Yeah. Hell yeah. But please get rid of something if you're going to get another watch. Don't keep piling up watches, folks. My God, if you got that many watches piled up, get rid of some of them and buy some Bitcoin. You will be much better off down the road 10 years from now. Trust me, you will be. At least you'll be in the game. You'll be able to ride this wild ride with us. Craig, what do you think of Filipino Lorty watch? I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. In my opinion, they were pure quality, and I'm considering purchasing one soon. I'm not sure, Ryan. I'm not up on all the different models, but Clive probably knows something about it. Thinking about selling my root beer gin. Ryan just set fire to $7,000, the same thing. There you go. Let's see. Rolex, Tudor, Invicta, and MVMT are ugly garbage. Are not GS there? I'm not sure what he's saying. Okay. Craig, it's getting close to putting steaks on the grill. Absolutely. I got to get out of here too. Hope you're having something other than a sweet potato for dinner. I eat them a lot. I eat them a lot. They're very nutritious, and with avocado on them, it's like butter on them. It's just really good. I eat a lot of avocados too. I haven't been wearing it. The novelty wore off. Okay, whatever that is. I'm going to wrap up the comments here, and we're going to wrap up the show. So, folks, let me know if there's anything pressing you want to ask. I mostly use my watches to impress others, to be honest. Well, if you're doing business deals and stuff like that, dressing nice, wearing a nice watch, nice shoes, all those kinds of things, if it helps you make the deal, that's money in your pocket. Dudley's making deals. He's out there making deals. He's wearing a Date 840, and he's closing deals. And if it's helping him, even if it's just helping his confidence, and it's helping him get those deals, the watch is helping to pay for itself. He's doing some really good deals. And Clivester, he's a power broker, basically. He's brokering deals all the time. And if he has a power watch on, that's probably going to help him get the job done. So he's got a reason. The folks that just sit at home wearing their watch and are not making deals, and they got a bunch of them sitting at home with them in boxes, that makes no sense at all. You're not leveraging those watches at all. You're not getting any benefit at all. Unless you're a YouTuber and you're monetizing your YouTube videos and you're getting money that way, like Archie or whatever. I mean, if you're getting money, that's one thing. But if you just got watches sitting around just for the hell of it, I don't know. WTF is wrong with the watch community. All communities have issues here and there. It isn't just a watch community. What's on the menu tonight, Chip? I don't know what I'm going to eat. I haven't decided yet. I might have some chili on top of my sweet potato. How's that? What do you think about that? Just mix things up a little bit. I'd like to publicly thank the Wrench crew. Great set of lads. There you go, Vegas. They are tough cookies. David, do you know Vegas? Should we give Vegas a wrench? Do you know Vegas? God, this is boring. You got that right. This is absolutely boring. And no, a truer statement was never said. Let's see here. So should we give him a wrench? Should Vegas get a wrench? What do you think, Clive? Do you know Vegas? First of all, does Vegas want a wrench? Mention in there if you want a wrench or not. I got to have two wrench guys. I got to have two wrench guys say if he should get a wrench. Oh, he doesn't want a wrench. Okay, no way. Okay, so that solves that problem. So Flippin' Zippo, it's better if you just said, heck yeah, chili, because we don't want foul language in here. We've got, we've got a broad audience. So there's that. Wait, on a sweet potato? Yeah, chili over a sweet potato is pretty good, man. Anything over top of a sweet potato is good, trust me, when I tell you that. My watch while I'm on the I usually look and study and watch while I'm on the toilet. I don't blame you. I want a wrench so I can ban everyone. Give me a wrench. I'll ban all the trolls. Everyone around here. He's going to slap everybody over the head with a wrench, for gosh sakes. If you wear your 30 grand day date and it helps you push a deal that nets you 300 grand more than the watch pay, hell yeah. Dudley's doing some deals. I'm telling you he is. Dudley's doing some deals. Back in the day, I did some deals, and I'm sure that my Rolex helped. I can't swear to it, but I'm pretty sure that the Rolex played a role and helped. Of course, I was always well dressed and all that too, you know. But I think it all helps. Thanks anyway, Craig. I like being in the peanut gallery. There you go. That sounds vile. Somebody. All right, folks. I guess that's it. I didn't see any questions pop in. So I guess we're going to kill the live stream here, and you guys can go join the Clivester on his stream, and I'm sure there'll be a whole bunch more people join that one, because everybody's welcome there. Now, Clive, do you want me to just send the trolls over to Archie from now on? You don't want me to send them to your channel? Clarify on that, because I thought everybody was welcome on your channel. Let me know in the chat. And if the trolls are not welcome on your channel, then I'll send them over to Archie. I know they're welcome there. Make everyone a wrench except Chip Wong and JC. Craig, give some credit. He's a good guy. Which one? Oh, give Craig some credit. He's a good guy. Okay. Where's my wrench? Adaptive Cowman. You got to have at least two members of the wrench gang need to vouch for you, because I don't know who you are. Dudley is a mover and shaker. Absolutely he is. He's doing deals, man. He's out there in motion. Be in motion, folks. Thank you again for your time, Craig. Fun live stream from Thomas. AC3 at 6 p.m. There you go. I don't want to go to Clive. Keep streaming. Cheers, everyone. See you on the next. There you go. Thanks much. Good show from Wags. Okay. All right. So listen, we're going to wrap it. I got to find the app here. And this was an adventure. This was our adventure show. I was always a big fan of Harrison Ford, even before Raiders of the Lost Ark came out. I was a fan of him in his earlier movies. And I swear I watched Raiders 5 times in the theater. It was down at the Uptown Theater on Connecticut Avenue in D.C. with the big curved screen. And it was in 70 millimeter and Dolby and all that stuff. And we had a back way to sneak in. I probably watched that thing 5 times. That was a great movie to watch on that big, huge curved screen. And when the guy cocks the gun and he takes the whip. Oh, I got to show you guys the whip. I stand by. I'm going to show you the whip real quick before I wrap. So there's the whip, and this is made by the same guy that made the whips for the movie, and then they made them in a couple different lengths. I think this one's 8 feet. Really well done. These are made out of kangaroo leather, and the way I think they call it plaiting. The way they make them, it's just a lot of detail, hand work. I think he's charging like $800 or $900 for these now. They weren't cheap back when I got it. I think it was $600. So they haven't gone up that much, really. But yeah, that's the whip. That's the actual whip that was made. And it looked a little darker in some of the scenes. It's just because as you use it and get sweat and dirt and all that, it naturally darkens. So they aged it. They made it look like the whip was more aged than this one is. So there you go. That's the whip. So we use that to keep folks in line around here. All right. right, so let's wrap it up. On that note, we're going to... Do you use that whip on little girls? And the guy hit him over the head with the wrench. Yeah, we wouldn't use that on a girl. Are you kidding me? You wouldn't use that on a lady. I mean, that's kind of a stupid comment. I'd use it on you, though. I'd use it on a troll. Yeah, we would. All right, everybody, carry on. Thanks for watching, and then maybe until next time. And trolls, head over to Archie's channel. He's going live here soon.